What your words are not just sounds, they are the outward expression of your inner world. When you speak, you are not merely transferring information. You are shaping perception, influencing thought, and creating emotional responses. While they watch you work, that's why it's often said that your words shape your reality. If you speak in doubt, your world begins to reflect doubt. If you speak with conviction, your world begins to align with strength and certainty. The power of speech begins not with your lips, but with your thoughts. What you dwell upon mentally becomes what you express vocally. So, if your thinking is weak, scattered, or fearful, your words will carry that same energy. But if your mind is ordered, confident, and filled with vision, your communication will naturally reflect those qualities. To speak smart, one must first learn to think smart. That means developing the discipline to filter your thoughts, organize your ideas, and align them with your desired outcome. Many people speak reactively. They speak what they feel in the moment without pausing to consider the long-term effect of their words. This kind of speech may provide short-term relief but leads to confusion, regret, and miscommunication. On the other hand, the smart speaker disciplines their mind to slow down, reflect, and structure their message with clarity and impact. This process begins with a conscious awareness of your internal dialogue. Are you constantly criticizing yourself, doubting your abilities, complaining or gossiping internally? All of these thoughts, left unchecked, will eventually find their way into your external conversations. A strong internal foundation creates powerful external speech. If you want to speak in a way that influences others, you must start by influencing yourself. Build belief in your vision. Rehearse success mentally. Feed your mind ideas of excellence, courage, clarity, and wisdom. What you repeatedly tell yourself becomes your belief system, and that belief system becomes your vocal expression. A person who has internal chaos can never express external clarity. The two are inseparably connected. Additionally, smart communication is rooted in intention. Words should never be thrown around casually, because each one has the power to build or destroy. To speak smart is to speak on purpose, to say only what adds value, moves the conversation forward, or connects hearts and minds. Speaking with intention requires thinking with purpose. It means understanding the why behind your words before they ever leave your mouth. In short, your ability to speak wisely, powerfully, and effectively begins with what's going on in your mind. Master your thoughts, and you begin to master your words. And once your words are aligned with clarity and purpose, they will carry an unmistakable power. The power to inspire, to lead, and to transform. Confidence is the invisible force that transforms simple words into powerful messages. It doesn't matter how brilliant your ideas are if they are delivered with hesitation, uncertainty, or fear. The human mind is wired to respond to strength. And when you speak with confidence, you trigger a natural response in others to listen, trust, and follow. Confidence adds gravity to your words. It gives your message weight. People are drawn not just to what you say, but to how you say it, the energy behind your words, the conviction in your tone, the steadiness in your voice, the certainty in your expression. Communicates far more than vocabulary ever could. Confidence in communication isn't about being loud or dominating a conversation. It's about owning your message. It means you believe what you're saying. You stand behind your words. You understand your subject, and you trust yourself to speak it clearly. That inner belief radiates outward, and people feel it. In fact, much of what people remember from a conversation or speech is not the content itself, but the impression the speaker left on them. And that impression is built on confidence. True confidence is not arrogance. It is preparation multiplied by belief. The most confident communicators are the most prepared. They do not leave their message to chance. They study their material. They understand their audience. They rehearse their delivery. And because they've done the work, they can speak with authority. Confidence is earned through discipline. The more you invest in your knowledge, in your voice, and in your ability to express yourself, the more naturally confident you will become. You work, but confidence also requires courage. There will be times when you don't feel fully ready, when fear whispers that you're not good enough while they watch work, or that others won't take you seriously. These are the moments when you must push forward anyway. The act of speaking confidently, even when you feel unsure, trains your mind to grow stronger. Each time you speak with boldness, you reinforce the belief that you are capable, worthy, and ready. And over time, that belief becomes your reality. It's also important to remember that people mirror the energy you bring. If you speak with uncertainty, your listeners will feel uncertain. If you speak with conviction, they will mirror your confidence. This psychological effect is powerful in leadership, influence, and persuasion. A confident voice inspires action. It creates momentum. It earns respect. So train yourself to stand tall when you speak. Breathe deeply. Make eye contact. Speak slowly and clearly. These physical actions signal confidence to both your mind and your audience. And over time, they become natural habits. Confidence in communication is not a gift you are born with. It is a skill you build. And once built, it becomes one of your greatest assets in life. Speak watch with confidence, and your words will open doors that fear could never unlock. To communicate powerfully, you must understand a foundational principle. People don't just hear your words. They experience them through their own thoughts, feelings, and perceptions. That's why knowing your audience is not just helpful. It's essential. You can speak with perfect grammar and a rich vocabulary while they watch you work, but if your message doesn't resonate with the people listening, it will fall flat. Smart communicators are not just focused on expressing their own ideas. They are laser focused on how their message is being received. You work. They consider who is listening, what those listeners care about, what they fear, what motivates them, and how they prefer to be spoken to. This awareness is the foundation of effective, influential speech. Every audience is different. A message that motivates one group might alienate another. While they watch you, that's why one-size-fits-all communication rarely works. To truly connect, while you must develop the ability to read the emotional and intellectual landscape of the people in front of you. Are they skeptical or open? Are they inspired by facts or by stories? Are they seeking reassurance or challenge? Once you understand the mindset of your audience, you can shape your message in a way that enters their world instead of just bouncing off their walls. This doesn't mean being manipulative. It means being empathetic. Empathy is the bridge between your message and their mind. You work when you truly care about the people you're speaking to, when you seek to understand them rather than impress them. They feel it. You work, and when people feel understood, they open their ears and their hearts. They become receptive. That's when real communication happens. You work. Understanding your audience also requires you to adjust your language. If you're speaking to professionals in a specific field, you work. You can use the technical terms they're familiar with. If you're speaking to a general audience, clarity becomes your priority. Smart speakers always simplify without dumbing down. They make sure their message is accessible, but never watered down. This shows respect. You work. It demonstrates that you value the listener's time and attention enough to deliver your message in the clearest way possible. You work. Another key aspect of knowing your audience is anticipating their objections and doubts. If you can address their concerns before they even voice them, you show foresight and leadership. You remove resistance. This builds trust. And trust, once earned, gives your words power and weight. The best communicators in history were masters of psychology, not in theory, but in practice. They knew how people think. They knew how emotions work. And most importantly, they cared deeply about connecting, not just talking. They didn't guess what people wanted. They studied, listened, and paid attention. You work. And because of that, their words changed hearts and minds. So if you want to speak smart, start by listening smart. Tune into your audience. Understand their world. And then, and only then, deliver your message in a way that honors their mind and captures their soul. In powerful communication, it is not only what you say that matters. It is also when you say it and how long you pause before or after you speak. This is the art of timing and silence while they watch, and it is often overlooked by those who are too focused on filling every moment with words. You work, but those who understand the psychology of communication know that silence can speak volumes, and timing can elevate an ordinary message into a transformational one. Speaking smart means knowing when to speak, but also knowing when to pause, when to listen, and when to allow your words to breathe in the mind of your listener. Many people are uncomfortable with silence. In conversation, you work. They rush to fill every gap. In speeches, they move quickly from point to point without giving the audience time to absorb or reflect. This nervous speed weakens their message. On the other hand, the wise communicator uses silence with confidence. A well-placed pause creates emphasis. It signals importance. It gives the listener space to think, to feel, and to connect. When you say something meaningful, then pause, you work. You give that idea room to settle deeply. The pause acts like an underline, a spotlight. It draws attention and adds gravity. Timing is also essential in emotional delivery. If you deliver a powerful idea too soon, before the audience is ready to hear it, they may reject it. You work. If you wait too long, the emotional energy might fade. There's a rhythm to great communication, just like music. The most impactful speeches and conversations have a flow, rising and falling, speeding up and slowing down. This rhythm keeps listeners engaged and connected. It also mirrors natural human emotion, making your words feel more real and relatable. Listening is another powerful part of this equation. Speaking smart is not just about expressing yourself. It's about responding to others. A great communicator listens actively. They observe body language. They notice shifts in tone. They hear what is said and what is not said, and they adjust their delivery based on this feedback. In a world where most people are waiting for their turn to talk, the one who truly listens stands out. And when that person finally speaks, you work. Their words carry 10 times more weight because they are grounded in awareness, not just noise. Sometimes the most intelligent thing you can do in a conversation is to pause, breathe, and allow space. This shows confidence. It shows you are not rushed, not reactive, not desperate to impress. It shows you are in control, not just of your words, but of the moment itself. The smart speaker does not fear silence. You work. They command it. They understand that a moment of stillness can be more powerful than 100 empty words. In the end, silence and timing are not the absence of communication. They are powerful tools of it. Learn to use them with precision. You work, and you will turn your communication from ordinary to extraordinary. They work. Every word you speak should carry purpose. Too often, people speak just to be heard, to fill silence. You war to avoid discomfort. But this kind of talking lacks power. When you speak without intention, your words lose weight. They become noise instead of influence. You work. If you want to speak smart, you must speak with purpose. This means choosing your words carefully, eliminating unnecessary chatter, and making every sentence serve a mission. Whether you're inspiring a room, leading a meeting, or having a one-on-one conversation, your message should have clarity, direction, and meaning. Speaking with purpose begins with understanding why you're talking in the first place. Are you trying to inform, persuade, inspire, correct, or connect? When your objective is clear, your words will follow in alignment. Purpose brings precision. You won't need to rely on long-winded explanations or filler phrases when your mind is fixed on delivering a specific impact. This doesn't mean you have to sound robotic or overly serious. It means you respect the power of your voice enough to use it with intention, not carelessness. When you remove filler words, such as, like, you know, and similar crutches, you immediately sound more intelligent and focused. While they watch you work, these fillers often sneak into speech when the mind is unclear or the speaker is nervous. With awareness and practice, you can train yourself to replace filler with pause and hesitation with strength. When you pause instead of using a filler, you gain time to think and emphasize what comes next. The result: you speak slower, clearer, and with more authority. Smart communication also avoids exaggeration. While some think stretching the truth adds flair, it actually weakens trust. Overusing dramatic words like always, never, amazing, or unbelievable can make your speech sound theatrical instead of credible. Purposeful language favors accuracy over hype. A smart speaker knows that simple truths, well delivered, are far more persuasive than inflated claims. Being intentional with your message also means staying focused. Rambling is the enemy of influence. People have limited attention spans while they watch you work, and if you wander through too many topics or lose your point mid-sentence, your audience will mentally check out. A focused message respects the listener's time and intelligence. Before speaking, take a moment to gather your thoughts. Structure your ideas. Think in clear beginning, middle, end patterns. This clarity sharpens your impact. Purposeful communication doesn't just apply to big speeches. It transforms everyday conversations. When you speak with clear intent in small interactions, people begin to see you as thoughtful, trustworthy, and reliable. Over time, your words carry more weight because people learn to expect value from your voice. You work. Ultimately, speaking with purpose is an act of discipline. It's a choice to lead with intention rather than impulse. It's a decision to let your voice reflect your values, your vision, and your inner strength. When every word you speak is aligned with your mission, your communication becomes not just smarter, but unstoppable. Words alone do not move people. Emotion does. Behind every decision a person makes, there is a feeling guiding it. Logic may give them reasons to agree, but emotion gives them the energy to act. If you want to speak smart, you must learn to connect emotionally. You must master the art of making people feel something, not just understand something. While they watch, whether you're delivering a speech, having a one-on-one conversation, or writing a message, your ability to stir emotion will determine how deeply your words are received and remembered. Think back to the most powerful messages you've ever heard. You may not recall every fact or sentence, but you remember how it made you feel. Motivated, hopeful, moved, or awakened. That emotional imprint is what stays with people long after the words fade. A smart communicator understands this and uses emotion wisely and authentically. They do not manipulate feelings, but instead speak from the heart, allowing their sincerity to create connection. When you are emotionally honest, people feel that. Your passion becomes contagious. Your belief becomes believable. To engage emotions, speak to universal human experiences. Talk about struggle, fear, hope, growth, love, and ambition. These are things everyone can relate to. Use stories, examples, and vivid imagery to bring your message to life. Facts inform, but stories transform. A story takes an idea and gives it a heartbeat. It turns a concept into something people can see, hear, and feel. While they watch you work, it's not about performing or being dramatic. It's about being real. Realness cuts through resistance. People listen to emotion because it reminds them their own truth. Tone of voice also plays a critical role in emotional communication. You work. You can say the same sentence in two different ways and get two completely different reactions based on tone. If you work, if they one thing but your tone says another, people will believe your tone. That's why alignment is so important. Your voice, your face, you work, your body language, and your words must all carry the same message. When they do, your communication becomes powerful and people feel safe enough to trust you. Your connection also grows stronger when you validate emotion in others. Acknowledge how people feel. Let them know they are heard and understood. Don't rush to fix or correct their perspective. Start by showing empathy. This doesn't weaken your message, it strengthens it. Work. People are far more likely to listen to someone who first listens to them. In high-stakes moments, whether in leadership, conflict, sales, or inspiration. It's not enough to be technically correct. You must make people feel seen, valued, and moved. That's the heart of influence. A smart speaker doesn't just aim for the head, they aim for the heart. Because when people feel something powerful, they remember it. You work, and when they remember you, your words live on in their thoughts, in their decisions, and in the actions they take. So speak to the heart, and the mind will follow. Great communicators are not born with some magical ability to speak flawlessly. They are made through consistent, intentional practice. The art of speaking smart is not a talent, it is a skill. And like any skill, it demands daily effort, discipline, and refinement. You work. Mastery doesn't come from speaking once in a while or only when it matters most. It comes from treating every conversation, every sentence, and every word as an opportunity to sharpen your craft. Verbal discipline is the key that turns scattered speech into impactful communication. Verbal discipline begins with awareness. You must start noticing how you speak. Your tone, your pace, your choice of words, your tendency to drift, your reliance on fillers or vague expressions. Once you bring awareness to these habits, you can begin the process of replacing them with clarity, intention, and strength. This process takes time and it requires humility. You must be willing to listen to yourself, to accept constructive feedback. You work, and to make adjustments again and again until your speech becomes a reflection of your highest level of thought. Part of practicing verbal discipline is building your vocabulary, not to sound complex, but to be more precise. The more words you know while they watch, the more accurately you can express your thoughts and emotions. Instead of saying, "I feel bad," you can say, "I feel disappointed, overwhelmed, or discouraged." Instead of saying, "It was good," you can say, "It was insightful, empowering, or well executed." Nuance matters. Specificity adds power. When you practice expanding your language, you increase your ability to speak with impact and elegance. You work. Another crucial element of verbal discipline is learning how to structure your ideas. Rambling and disorganized speech dilutes your message. When you speak in a structured way, introducing your idea, supporting it, and summarizing it, you make it easier for others to follow and retain your message. Structure creates rhythm. It builds momentum, and it trains your mind to think in patterns that naturally flow into strong communication. Smart communication also requires repetition. The more you practice, the more confident and natural you become. Read aloud every day. Record yourself. Watch inspiring speakers and study their cadence, tone, and timing. Practice speaking in front of a mirror. Use every conversation, no matter how casual, as a chance to improve. Over time, these efforts compound. What once took effort becomes instinct. What once felt uncomfortable becomes your new standard. But perhaps the most important part of verbal discipline is aligning your speech with integrity. Say what you mean. Mean what you say. Don't exaggerate, flatter, or manipulate. Speak with truth even when it's difficult. When your words are consistent with your values and your actions, people trust you. And trust is the foundation of all great communication. In the end, smart speaking isn't about sounding impressive. It's about becoming intentional, disciplined, and true. Practice this daily. You work, and you'll not only master the psychology of communication, you'll become someone whose words carry lasting influence.